Hi, everybody. Welcome to All Games New and Old. I'm David Rodriguez here with another episode of The Mic Drop. And today I'm really excited. My special guest is Dina Ramse. She does marketing for board games and does a whole bunch of stuff with Kickstarters. I don't even know what all she does, but it's a lot. How you doing, Dina?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm really excited. You and I have been chatting online for a very long time, I feel like, or at least since I got into the board game, world on Twitter. And
Yeah, it's been
I'm
like a
very happy
year
to
now.
yeah, I think it's been more than that even, because I think my channel's been
Really?
going on for like a year and a half maybe, and I
I was
feel
there
like I
when you
could be wrong.
announced it. Yeah, because
Yeah,
you had just launched it when we started chatting, and then we played some games on BGA.
yeah, yeah. I think
Oh
you're
my gosh,
right.
it's been
Yeah,
so
so
long.
I know, I know. I'm terrible at trying to like set up games with people or just like random like talking like this. So my channel's making me be better at this than I normally would. So that's a positive. But
Yes.
I'm very happy to have you on because for one thing, you're super incredibly nice, and you've been so awesome. Because a lot of times when I've done, if any of you have watched me do a excuse me, a Kickstarter like preview or anything like that, a lot of times it's Dina who has helped me or hooked me up with those people so I could do that. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna start off by just complimenting you a lot and saying you're really really amazing
Oh, thank you.
and and if there's anybody in all of board gaming who doesn't like you, they're wrong. I don't know what to. They're just wrong. That's all I
I
can
do
say
hear
about that.
some people say I'm a little bit too sweet, but then I just tell them that I have candy like when I'm working. So like I just fuel myself with sugar, so it's just sugar that pours out. So obviously I am sweet.
Aw. That's nice. That's nice. I actually picture like just off camera, there's like just a large bowl of sugar with a spoon in it, and you just throughout the day, something like that.
No, I
That'd be
have a
amazing.
snack drawer. You have to be a little bit
Oh,
sophisticated because otherwise the kid is gonna take it from me.
oh yeah. Okay, good thinking. Is it locked? Do you have to put or like do you have to does it have like a fingerprint scan or something like that so the kid can't get in?
No, it's just a really heavy sort of pine wood drawer.
Oh, that's probably good
So
enough.
it makes
That'll
a
work.
creaking noise when it opens, and you kind of have to
Oh,
like
that's
put
good.
some force into it.
Oh, that it's kind of like an alarm system, so you know if anyone's getting into
Yeah.
your candy door. Ah, brilliant, brilliant. I like it. Yeah, I know. I need a drawer like that because suddenly my kids will be walking around with like some candy. I'm like, what? Where'd you even get? I didn't even know we
Where
had
did
this
you get
candy.
that from? I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
it's
that's mine.
ridiculous. So, you can't see it, but my daughter's like straight back that way, and she's giving me looks right now because I'm talking about my kids and the weird stuff they do. But you know what? If she doesn't want to hear it, she doesn't have to be in the room. So it's her choice.
Ooh, burn. I felt that.
All right. So my description of what you do in the board gaming world was a little half-assed because as I was talking with you beforehand, I feel like it seems like you do to me from my viewpoint, it seems like you're doing a million things. So instead of me trying to like elaborate in ways that I barely can grasp, why don't you tell people about what you do in gaming?
Okay, so 4 years ago, I started Dina Said So Studio, or at that point, it was just called Marketing with Dina, because I'd just been laid off as a head of marketing for an app where we were working with stories, so like choose your own adventure style. And I figured I could use my marketing know-hows to help an industry that I was more sort of keenly interested in, which is board games and tabletop general. And it was like 2 weeks, and I had my first client that I was working with, which was really fun. Green Meadow Games came out with Dawn on Kickstarter almost 4 years ago now, and we had a lot of fun. And I kind of decided like this is what I want to do. And since then, I've launched 140 Kickstarters,
Oh my god.
and I've made maybe 7 Kickstarter videos that we've done in house. We have a videographer, we have a graphic designer in our team, we have a copywriter and ads manager who works nearly full time, as well as a marketing and social media assistant in addition to myself.
Right on. See, I didn't even know you had this full team. I thought you were doing a million things all on your own, and I was like, I don't know if she sleeps. I don't know how she. I don't know. It tired me out thinking about it. So I'm glad you have help. That's good.
I still
Wow.
sleep about like 4 to 5 hours a day. Um,
Oh my goodness.
so because obviously I have a kid as well, and sometimes my meetings will end around 1 o'clock in the morning, and then up again at 7 or 8 with the kid, and then getting him to kindergarten, then a full day. So yeah, I sleep in during weekends.
I hope so. My gosh, I would be nodding off in the middle of this interview if I slept that little. Oh my god. Wow. Okay. Well, good. So when you first started, was it just you at the very beginning, or did you immediately have connections to people that you could start an actual team with?
Yeah, so I have already done a Kickstarter campaign with a friend of mine from our local board gaming group who was at that point still studying to become a graphic designer and videographer. So I would occasionally ask him for assistance on some things, like making cute GIFs and just making things look extra pretty for our clients. But it was really like half a year in when he had less schoolwork and he obviously came in on a summer holiday that it was just like, okay, here's just like rapid fire from that point. Just like he didn't really have a choice than to start working with me.
Oh my gosh.
I feel
Well,
like I
that works.
absolutely hijacked him straight out of school.
I mean, that's good. I'm sure he appreciates that because it's better
Oh
than wandering
yeah,
around trying to find something forever. So,
absolutely.
and I don't know if he's into games, but I mean, you get to work at least around or with games all the time, so that's always fun.
Yeah, so he's a speedrunner. He has like a record holding for La Mulana, and he's really into like deep sort of underground indie video games.
Okay.
So he isn't as much into the board gaming, but we played board games. We play quite a lot of board games with him, and he's gotten quite into it. So now he actually started his own board gaming collection.
Ah,
It's
you
like
did it.
he's growing. But for us, it's like our common passion was role playing games. I
Oh,
used to do promotion for role playing games when I was living in Norway. And I would run on all these different conventions, running role playing games and showing people how to enjoy role playing games, being new, a lot of improv theater stuff. And at some point, I was even a hired game master. So I would do like
oh
uh,
wow.
school trips and holidays for people. And yeah, there's a really cool summer
Wow.
program in Norway where I would just run games the entire week for the kids. Um,
That
just a
sounds
lot
like
of fun.
heaven. I'm not gonna lie. I
They
didn't, I
actually
didn't.
flew me over to run the game session because I was living in the UK and they were like, no one else but Dina can do this. And they were like, we'll pay your flight. And I was like, sure, yeah, you pay my flight. I'm going to come.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh my God. So, wow. Okay. I didn't even know that you had been into role playing games, I don't think. Or maybe you tweeted at some point and it slipped my memory.
Yeah,
But
some point.
um, what is your role playing game system of choice?
Um, I'm very much on the indie scene. So for me,
Okay.
it's not about the systems. If I can choose, I'd go with diceless. That's just my preferences. But if I have to choose a dice system, I'd probably go with a D10 because it's less sort of catering to humor, which D20s are.
Hmm.
And there is something about a D10 system that just kind of feels 80s to me.
Yeah, I could see that. Was like vampire D10s back in the day? I could be
Yeah,
wrong. It's been a minute, but
yeah, it is.
okay. I don't know if it still is
Very
or
much
not.
so.
I have to admit, and like I hardly have time to play RPGs anyway right now, just because of where I'm at in life. But I was always unsure about straying into the indie stuff because I was like, I don't know, is that going to be as good? So I played D&D, of course, and I did play some Vampire and I don't know Call of Cthulhu, I guess, but it's a popular one. I don't know if that counts as indie or not. I don't know where the line is on that, but
No, no.
yeah, I didn't really think so. But yeah, you're talking much more indie than the thing, but yeah, I'm always like,
I
I don't
mean,
know.
this
It's
is
kind of
this
a risk.
is my shelf with sort of more indie type role playing games. obviously we do have Burning Empire and Burning Wheel here, because we run those a lot, back when I was just GMing for cash, because it's a great system for that. There's a lot of progression and character development that just happens sort of organically that I really like. But my favorite was probably Itra City, which I helped do the launch party for, and that's like 20 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
And that was
Wow.
kind of my
Okay.
start into the industry. So I was helping out with rulebook editing and helping out on like promo sides. So that was a lot of fun.
Right on. That's wild. Okay. So you've been. I feel like it sounds like you've been promoting stuff like from the start. I mean, were you?
Yes.
I want to get into how you started in gaming in the first place, but I imagine you like buying maybe an RPG book, taking home, reading it, coming to the game store the next day, and talking to everyone about that and trying to get them to play. I don't know. All right. So well, let's.
No, do you want the story?
Yes, I want the story. I need to know.
Oh my gosh, be real. This is serious stuff. So I was raised in a foster home with very Christian people. We didn't have board games. We didn't really have any games of any sort. It wasn't until I was 13 that I actually we got a computer, which was like big,
Oh
and
wow.
uh, so I moved on myself when I got emancipated when I was 14, and as a part of getting to know people and kind of learning my own space, I stumbled upon a group of people who were playing role playing games. So I was like, I want in. And then
Nice.
they let me after a while. Like my brother was doing like, oh, girls can't play role playing
Oh
games. And I
no.
was so pissed. And I was like, I'm going to show you. And I think I did.
Yeah, I think so too.
He is really envious of me being in the game industry, but then he's a chef, and that was his journey. So he gets to cook a lot of delicious food and drink fancy
Yeah.
wines. I get to meet really cool game designers and play new games all the time.
Well,
I think I
that's.
won.
I mean, yeah, I think maybe you did too. I mean, a chef is nice. I mean, that's cool. I wish I could cook something really fancy, but I don't know that I would trade that for playing games. I don't think I would, or doing anything with games.
Right?
I don't think so. I could just
Mm.
have. I'll just get McDonald's. I'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be practically the same anyway. Yeah, almost. All right. So then, so where was your start? Like, how did you get into like a marketing for games? Like, what was your journey there?
I mean, I started out doing promo for games when I was 14 as a
That is
part
so
of the
wild to me.
organizational work. So I was working in an organization in Norway, which is just like an umbrella organization for all sort of things fantastical, meaning
Uh,
tabletop video games, board games, war games, you
okay.
name it. We even had like a section for people who are doing like elaborate historical reenactments. So it kind of meant
Okay.
that I had to be able to touch into all of these groups of people. And I love
Right.
people. I absolutely adore people. So we were, making conventions and creating events and overseeing that, the monies were going the right way based on members and a lot of data that really needed to be happening. And
Oh,
I loved it so much. And I just kind of wanted to stay with it for as long as possible. So I was in that organization for 10 years, and that was
wow.
the point when I left Norway, and I wanted to kind of find something that I could do that would be within sort of the same genre, as in I still wanted to be in games. So I took it upon myself to do running promotions for role-playing games, like the Norwegian style role-playing games in the UK when I was living there. So for over 3 years, I would visit every single convention I could, and I would find either board gamers or the role-playing gamers, and I would hassle them into playing with me or let me run a game with them. So I would run games on like trains and on buses and bus stops.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
and I would get people to play at me with the pub and just like everywhere. And I had this great experience where I went into a Warhammer game shop and they were like, I will play with you, but only if you sit here and you play Warhammer, which kind of led into me sitting down to paint a Warhammer figurine over 3 days. And we had so many visitors in that store while I was there. I was like, oh my gosh, there's a woman there, which I thought was so weird.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I briefly worked for Games Workshop out here. And luckily there were some women, but it was still, I mean, it probably still is to this day, I assume, very much the minority, which is a bummer because, man, we need that. They need that in that store badly.
Yeah, they do.
Well, I'm just impressed because that you've been doing it since you were so young. I mean, you're actually starting to work on things like, because when I was
Yeah.
14, I was like, I don't know, trying to figure out how to work on beating Super Mario Brothers 3 or something. Like that was, I don't know, that was probably like the extent of the what I applied myself to. I mean, wow. Excuse me. So
Yeah, I guess I had some goals. I wasn't quite sure where I wanted to go. I mean, for me, the same year when I was 14 and I started working with games, I also like acquired a Nintendo 64, and that was the first time I ever played on a Nintendo 64. I got my own computer the same year, so it was like I was surrounded with tech and games all of a sudden, and it was just like this marvelous world that I'd never known, and I just wanted all of it, so like absorb as much as I could. Because this was so much fun for me, not having grown up with it.
Yeah, I bet.
And that, down the road, it led me to working with Electronic Arts. I've worked for King Games. And, this kind of stacks on top of each other. So then I got a job as a tester, doing like smoke tests for mobile applications before they launch. That kind of led me to being like, okay, but I have other skills that I also would like to use, even though I'm a really good tester.
Right.
I can use my other skills, because at this point I'd been a nail art blogger for 7 years, and I was shortlisted as one of the 50th best ones in the world while I was doing it. So I'd acquired a lot of like social media know-how and marketing know-how, because obviously I was marketing my own brand to companies, and I figured why not merge the two, because having these two as hobbies is very expensive and very time consuming.
Yep.
And then I just kind of pushed them together and be like, I'm going to do this one thing, and I'm going to do the tabletop industry. And it worked clearly. So
Yep.
I'm just super grateful.
That's all. You know what's funny? What I was kind of thinking of when you were talking, I feel like I hear a variation of the story a lot where parents tell their kids not to do this thing that is very common for kids to do, right? Whatever it is, they're like, no, you're not allowed. And so as soon as that dam gets the tiniest crack in it, that kid actually ends up, playing that thing or whatever. It's like this flood. And so they've created this person that is way more into those things maybe than they probably would have been if they just like let it go, excuse me.
Oh yeah, they absolutely created a monster.
Yeah.
If anyone ever wants to go into like a deep discussion of like where board games ended in 1970s, I'm your gal. Like like the revolutionary games of like 74 is just like one of my favorite topics in the industry.
Really?
And some people will be like, oh my gosh, I've never thought about that. Or they'll be like, how do you like what? But there'll be some who are like, yeah, totally get you, and they will know. And I just love that.
Wow. I don't think I know anything about that, to be honest with you. So at least sometime you'll have to tell me about it. If you want to go into it here, you can, but I don't know. I usually don't have these be several hours long. So, I mean, I don't know how much there is, but
there's a lot.
I bet. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
So you're kind of like
There's
a board game historian as well.
I obviously I have ADHD, so I like reading up on things, and then when I do, I get to get really deep into things. I'm very good at finding info and knowledge. My friends call me the wandering Wikipedia. So when there's games where you're not allowed to use your phone, they just look at me and ask me weird questions.
Oh wow. Gotcha. Well, I mean,
And
that's
they're
good.
like,
That's
"Oh,
good.
where's the Christians?" And they just look at me, be like, "Dina, a Christians? What is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's the Mediterranean somewhere." And they're like, "Thanks." And I'm like, "What are you playing?" It's like nothing.
Wow. So now if I have any random question during my day, I'll know who to send a message to. That's fantastic. I could Google, but I don't know, asking you is kind of more fun. So, you know, that's what I'll do. But see, we're in a very different time zone too. So chances are you'll be asleep and I'll just aggravate you. So I don't want to do
Right, right. There's that.
that.
There's a bit of layer of protection for me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you're 10 hours in the future compared to me. So, whew, all right. Because yeah, we don't live close to each other. It's too bad. I would love to sit
No.
down and play a game with you, but it's a little difficult.
Yeah, you can come and play games. It'd be
I would love
amazing.
to.
You'd love it.
I'll hop on a
I
plane
just got
tomorrow. I'll see.
auras. You should, yeah, come
Oh,
over. We have a spare bed.
oh, good, perfect. I think I'm on like a monthly game stream on Mr. Al Gaming, and I think we might be doing Oros next time. I'm not sure if that's written in stone yet, but I think that's the plan. So
Ooh,
I'll at least get to try
you're
it
gonna love
online if
it.
nothing else. Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, so you have worked on, I think you said around 140 Kickstarters. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to have to walk me through how this works. I may even be starting this wrong with my hypothetical here that I'm going to give you. So I've created my game, and I come to you and say, listen, everyone says you're amazing because they do. Um, it's true. It's true. Uh, I need you to help me get word out to the world. So what what do you do with that? Like how does it go from that point?
Okay. Most of the time, I won't even ask about their games to begin with, but I will kind of figure out where they are in their journey, how much of the artwork is done. Have you talked about manufacturing? Do you have an idea of what you're going to do for fulfillment or funding goals? Do you have solid, separate, different quotas in terms of like what's it going to cost? Do you know the size of your cards and component list? Is it finalized? Because sometimes they don't. Then I have to
Right.
ask them to come back, like start this, then we'll talk.
Okay.
So we kind of go through all of those lists first so that I have a good idea of what they're doing. Is it a game a one-off? Are they planning on doing consecutively releases? Because that has a lot to say in terms of positioning. And then once we kind of get an understanding of where they are and where they're heading, and if I like them, I'll ask them to talk more about their game and why they created it and how it works to see like what is the unique points and what do they really appreciate with the game, because that will obviously inform in terms of how we market things.
Right.
We usually say that your ideal customer is basically yourself because you created a game that you enjoy playing most of the time, at least.
We hope so.
We would hope so. And then it's just about like finding, okay, like who is this person? What is the game that they're doing? Would it actually be good for a Kickstarter release? Because that's not always the case. Sometimes there are
Right.
games who are more like a retail release, and
Sure.
we can point them in the right directions for those as well.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. So there is a lot of preparation and knowledge you have to get ahead of time before someone's going to
Yeah.
come to you to get this ready. Because I mean that'd be a whole other set of a set of things that had to be looked into. It sounds like. So okay, so I cannot just come to you with my prototype and say, "Here we go. Let's go with this." And I would need to do a lot more footwork first.
Well, at least I'll ask about what footwork you have done. And sometimes we can also help. Some of our clients, we help them with getting the right quotes and pointing them in the right direction for manufacturing and fulfillment. And obviously, we've done this quite a few times now, so we know like
Right.
maybe we want to use this, or maybe we want to manufacture prototypes in Europe because that might work out it's cheaper and faster in terms of getting it to reviews, depending on the time you have before you're wanting to launch. And sometimes people are like super optimistic. I want to launch it next week, and I'm like, no, you're not. Or if they do have the backings to do that, they're like, yeah, we have like a solid email list of like 2,000 people. I'll be like, go ahead. What do you need me for?
Yeah.
And then we'll look into like what gaps do they currently have with their own team, if they have one, and how can my team kind of fill out all those gaps.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. So, you at some point in there, you're saying like, if you like them, obviously you don't work with someone who's a total jerk. I think that's probably pretty obvious. I hope you haven't come across that too much. I mean, have you had that,
No,
or
not too much.
have you had someone come with the game and you're just like, no, like no, I'm not gonna. You don't have to say
Yeah.
specifics. Obviously, I'm not trying to get you to name any names,
No, I
but
can't say Pacific, but there has been a couple
no,
of games that has come my way, and I was just like, I don't think so. And sometimes it's because the direction is wrong. Sometimes it's just because the art is either offensive or there's too much profanities for my liking, and like
right,
very profane games are more like they're different to handle when it comes to Kickstarter releases and socials. I don't want to write too many poop jokes, for example. That's just not my kind of fun. And there are definitely some of those games that comes my way,
yeah,
and they're like, "Hi, we want to launch this very soon." And I mean, it has to be a good fit for our way of copywriting too.
right,
And there's, and we want to obviously save them the hassle of like hiring the wrong person. Um, Having that instant chemistry is really important because most of my clients I meet with every single week, sometimes even twice a week. So being friendly on is very important. Also, it helps on having the trust for when I come back to them and I say, we really need to change your artwork on your game box, for example. That's
uh-huh.
you need to trust me on when I say things like that. So if we don't have the chemistry, it's going to be really hard to move forward.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have trouble imagining people not getting along with you, but I assume that's more of a problem with them than a problem with you. I have to. Um, I just can't. I can't imagine someone like meeting and being like, "Wow, she's mean." Like, I just can't. It doesn't work in my brain. So I'm sure it's more the other way. Uh,
Usually not the mean part, more like she's too chatty or too chipper or you
oh,
know,
okay.
she's too positive. Not everyone
Oh, you don't
likes
want.
being set here like good morning. The first thing they do with a call.
Oh gosh.
But some really like it.
I guess people just want to talk to like very robotic people sometimes. Maybe that's it. I don't know. That's
And
weird to me.
sometimes they just want a guy. And that's
Oh,
fine
that sucks.
too.
Yeah, I guess that's probably true, but that's also why would they come specifically to you? You're like, yeah, I don't understand. People are weird. But I have seen
Never know.
plenty of games and stuff on Kickstarter that I'm like, wow, that takes something to put that out there because it's like really just blatantly bad in various ways. Like I can't remember what it was, and I probably wouldn't want to name it here anyway. There was somebody put out some like RPG supplement. I don't know if it was for like D&D or what, or if it was its own thing. I don't remember, but it was like it was so like over the top, like misogynistic. I almost couldn't believe it. Like it was like, okay, wait, is this just like is it just joking, or is this like I mean, which isn't good either, but I mean, or is it like really really serious? And I wish I'm not even if I could remember, I don't think I'd say what it was on this thing, but it was just so much. And I was like, how do you put this out and attach your name and your face to it? Like if somehow I had the lapse of judgment to ever put something like that out, which I wouldn't, but if I ever did, once I realized what I had done, I would never be able to show my face in public again. I'd have to like, I don't know, completely change my appearance to feel okay in the world.
Yeah. I've actually talked to some people who've done that who were like, yeah, like several years ago I launched this game and I was like, ooh, okay. I'll remember that. Like, and how do you feel about that? And it was like so embarrassed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
obviously they were already done at that point, and some of them have had really successful campaigns that they're still really embarrassed about because of the nature of the game. Once they grow up a little bit and kind of ditch that childish humor stuff
Right.
behind a bit, it's like you're
Yeah.
looking back, you're like, ooh. But we all have our cringe sort of teenage dreams, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
you're like,
Yep.
not everyone launched a Kickstarter with it though.
That's the thing. Usually it stays in here and
Because that
it's
stuff will
fine.
stay
Yeah.
forever.
I mean, like if I look at things the way I thought, I mean, I don't know specifically things I thought like 5 years ago. There's probably a number of things I'd be like, ugh, like that's not. And that's
Really?
I was a full
Yeah.
blown adult, but you learn as you go, and that's just what it is. And
Yeah.
there's a certain level of any of that that like I could put up with, but like everyone draws that line at a different spot, and some of it I'm just like, wow, this shouldn't. Come on, like just don't do this. It's so much. I don't understand. Um, we were talking before we got on here because we were talking about some of these unusual art choices sometimes. And one of the things I didn't
Yeah.
necessarily realize you did is that you also, I mean, you're looking for things that are possibly offensive because they might portray a certain people in a certain light. Is that
Mm.
because since you've been in this so long, do you feel like the amount of times that happens is decreasing, or is it kind of consistent? Do you still get just as many of those issues as you always have?
Overall, I mean, so about 1 out of every 60th Kickstarter campaign is from me or through me, which isn't that much. That means that there's like 59 others who've never like chatted to me at all.
Right.
And do I think that there's the same amount of people who are doing it, or do I just think that there's like less that I'm going through because I choose the games I work with?
Right. 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 I guess so. I
So
mean,
obviously,
I'm sorry. I guess like I mean, so since you're choosing though, but I mean, whether or not you end up working with them, are people coming to you with as many games that are like iffy choices, or are people kind of learning overall? I like to think that the game industry itself is maturing and we're getting, at least less of the sexy art or less of the portraying certain people in certain ways. I don't know if that's right, and maybe I'm just being optimistic. I mean, do you feel like it's improving, or is it kind of just
I think
level?
it's pretty much the same, but I think that they are more open now, at least the ones that I've ended up working with, are more open to directions. So
Okay.
last year, I think I had 4 or 5 campaigns that I started working with that had, somewhat of a little bit too lewd art choices. And
Right.
one of them was just like, we had a chat with the artist and we're like, hi, this doesn't really work right now in the current sort of market, and we
Right.
need to be able to appeal to potential backers so we can have a high sort of funding for for our campaign. And they were like, sure, yeah, got you. And on another one, they were like, equal opportunity was important for them, so it was like, looked at it going like, okay, there's 16 half naked ladies, maybe let's put in 16 half naked guys.
Right.
And for them, that was the thing that they wanted to do.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think that, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I guess if you make it fair, it's at least something you can point to and be like, look, like we tried to at least make it cool for everybody. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it just seems like kind of an odd choice to me at this point for people to make. Like I've had to do, or I didn't have to, but I did a couple of reviews of games that have like more sexy art than probably is, is really necessary. And I always have to say,
Mhm.
like, I'm not I'm not mad at anyone who likes it or dislikes it or whatever, but like be careful about who you bring this out with, because you don't want to bother someone at your table, and where you bring it out like at. Like I wouldn't bring out some games like at a convention if they had that kind of art, because I don't want someone walking by to like look at that and be like, oh God, like these people are, you know, this way.
Yeah.
Like so I think it's just
You kind of
limiting.
have to think about how that is portraying your own image, and I think that's really important
Right.
when it comes to like the market in general, is that these choices do mean that you're either going to have a lot of like shameful backers, or like, I'm not going to bring this to these groups of friends, or I will never bring
Right.
it to convention, which kind of reduces the sort of like the natural way of how we want social media to work in like marketing, because we want people to showcase their game. We want people to talk about it and post it on socials. And if the game is of such a nature that you can't do that without feeling like it's icky, then clearly you're missing a bit of your targeted audience for like
Yep.
continuously being able to sell the game. And that's just going to hurt your bottom line. So why do it to begin with?
Yeah, it just seems like a really odd choice in this day and age for them to do it. I mean, I'm sure it'll always be to some level or another a thing, but come on, people,
Yeah.
figure.
I think
Yeah,
we're growing and learning, right, as an
yeah,
industry, and more people see that these are some choices aren't necessarily the best ones.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you got to try to appeal to all consumers if possible, or as many as you can. And speaking of consuming things, we are going to be having a little debate here. Did you like that segue? It was forced. It was
That was a
really
good
forced.
one.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, we're going to be debating whether or not you should have snacks at the table. So without further ado, let's go to our debate segment. Okay, so here we are at our debate. Should snacks be allowed at the table? And so we're going to debate this. And people at home, it's important that you let us know in the comments who you think was the winner of this debate. Who was the most convincing? You don't have to agree with the person, just who you think was the most convincing and had the best arguments. So here's what we're going to do. We are both going to have an opening, a middle, or rebuttal, and then a closing statement. We're going to do that in turn order, but our sides and our turn order are going to be chosen randomly. So let's figure that out right now. Okay, so I have my magic technology device. And so I'm going to randomize number between 1 and 10. If it's an odd number, Dina, then you're going to say that snacks are okay at the table. If it's an even number, you're going to say they're not okay. And I'm going to forget which thing I put on which thing by the time we're done randomizing. Okay, let's see. All right, 1. So you're going to say snacks are okay at the table. Okay. Now we're going to figure out our turn order. So if it's odd, you'll be going first. And if it's even, I'll be going first. Okay. It's hard to do this. Okay. So it's like you'll be going first. Okay. You got this. It's going to be fine.
Okay.
You're marketing the idea of snacks at the table. I'm now realizing I'm way outclassed, but that's fine. We'll do it.
When you're having a game night, it's really important to be able to choose games that are of the right level for your team, your gamers that are coming to your table. One of those challenges that they're going to have is that everyone's going to be finished at work. There's going to be a long day, and not everyone's going to be able to have like the mental level capacity that the game is requiring. And maybe you all want to play like a really heavy game, and you want to get started on something that you all super excited about, but not everyone around the table might have had, a good enough breakfast, good enough dinner, and just be able to be as, focused and alert during the entire game session. And the worst thing that can happen when you're having a game night and you're super stoked about it, and it's been a month since last time, is the energy level dropping. It is the death of any board gaming group. So we solve it by having snacks at the table.
Okay. I mean, that all sounds reasonable. Here's the thing. I of course can't argue that food is important, energy levels are important. But listen, almost every food that you have has some sort of a residue or crumbs or something that can be left on your game or in your game box. And you don't want that. We spend a lot of money on these games. They're very expensive sometimes. Even the cheap ones, we still want to look nice. We don't want cards to have anything on them because then you know what those cards are. And a lot of times cards are there because they're hidden information. You can't have those cards marked in any way or everyone's going to know what card you have. It could completely ruin your ability to play that game. A single chip could destroy an entire game. It's shocking, but true. Is it really worth it? I don't think so. What you do is you have your snacks in another room and you make people go over there if they want to bite of something. Most of the time people don't need handfuls and handfuls of things. They can just go over, have one or two, and they're good for a little while. Don't have snacks at your game table. You'll ruin your games. That's my opening statement.
So you're taking the basis of people being able to get up and move during critical moments of your game, which can severely disrupt the flow. Because when you're in a like 3-hour game and you're halfway into it and you can feel like your energy levels are dropping, you're not going to be remembering that there's a snack on the other table. You're going to keep sitting there, and because you're so focused, the game is of such of an importance, because everyone is there. You going over there is disruptive for the entire group. So why not just have the snack available at the table so that everyone can access it? And you're also assuming that people can just get up and move over there. What about people with mobility issues?
Wow. Wow. You brought it. You came with a sucker punch there at the end. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. Okay. So here's the thing. I assume that the person with mobility issues, if you have someone coming over like that, or several people coming over who have those issues, have managed to get from your front door to your table. So you solve this problem by having the snacks somewhere between your front door and your table. If you don't have another way to make it easier, that's fine. We can, you can help them. It's fine. It's you can they can manage to get there. Or I think people who have those issues, they're certainly issues, but I have faith that they're very capable of doing these things. Now we have to think about, you're talking about the flow of the game and how that can get messed up, and certainly I can understand that. I don't think that's a non-issue, but I also feel that you have to be ready for that to happen in a game anyway. Like the game has to be good enough to withstand that kind of thing, because let's face it, I don't want to get too gross here. We're not all sitting with buckets under the table. Sometimes you got to get up and use the bathroom. You have to get up sometimes anyway. Getting up to get a snack, not too big a deal. Just get up, walk over for a minute when it's not your turn, or you're in the middle of downtime, or you're between rounds, whatever it might be. You have time to go get a snack. It's not that big a deal. You just got to time it correctly. I mean, no one is on the verge of starving to death that they need something right this instant. They could just get up when it's convenient. There will be a time, I'm sure of it. Go get something. And if there's not a time for it, you're probably playing some dexterity game that most likely is not going to last 3 hours, I hope, because dear God, that would be too much. But look, the other thing that you have to think about is that if you have snacks at the table in the middle of your activity, right? You're going to be kind of mindlessly snacking on this stuff. Like, when you're not doing something, you're just going to put a chip in your face or whatever it is. And that's fine. But listen, I don't know. I don't know how it is where you're at. Here, there's an obesity problem because people just put food in their mouth when they're bored. I do it too. I'm not all slender. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I need to lose some weight. And you know why? It's because I'm bored and there's chips in front of me or whatever. I keep saying chips. It could be anything. And you just start putting them in your face because they're right there. If I have to make the conscious decision to get up and go get food, I may not do that. So when we put the snacks further away from the game table, somewhere else, we're not only protecting our games, but we're encouraging good health and a longer lifespan for the people at our table. It is the best way to show that you care about both your friends and the games that you're playing too. You're looking out for them. You're looking out for them. You are showing the people with mobility issues that like, hey, I don't think of you as someone who struggles through life. You've managed this. You've conquered this. You can handle this. It's no problem. It's a non-issue, honestly. You're looking out for everybody and everything when you move those snacks away from the table. So that's my middle statement.
You come in with a low blow. I don't know what it is like where you are at. And then you follow it up with, this is a non-issue.
Oh. All right. Do you have a closing statement? If you just want to throw in the towel, you can. That's fine.
Throw in the towel? Me? Never. Okay, so I get your point that it's really important to mindfully snack. I get it. Not everyone is capable of doing it. If there is snack in front of them, some people will just mindlessly snack on it. But that is because of like how accessible things are on the table. And if everyone has their own bowl right next to them, sure, yeah, then that might become an issue that it's they're just shoving their faces. But you can also provide healthy snacks. It doesn't necessarily have to be chips. Like like accurately sort of mentioned here, chips will just get eaten mindlessly. You'll just shove it in your face, and that's clearly a you issue with chips. That maybe we can dive into it later. But I don't think you need to tamper and basically like ruin other people's game nights just because you're having a chips issue.
Oh my god.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Is that is that your closing statement? Are you
I'm gonna have that as my closing.
okay? That's fine. Wow. Okay. That was amazing. That was amazing. Okay. My closing statement. Let me get to it. Well, let me hold on. Let me wipe away my tears for being so brutally insulted. Okay. Wow. That was earlier in this show I praised you for being so nice. And yet that is the meanest argument anyone has ever said on this. Um it's okay. I'm not mad, dude. It's fine. Um and you know what? I'm gonna be honest. Right now, in this moment, I'm gonna kind of prove you right partially on some of your points. Okay? I, I'm gonna be brutally honest with myself, with you, with the gaming community at large. Okay? I want us all to look within ourselves. Imagine yourself at a game table where there happen to be snacks, right? Okay, let's say that that's just what's happening, even though it's the wrong choice. Let's just say that's what's happening. You go to someone's house, you're at their game table, they're serving snacks. Okay. Now, maybe they have chips and pretzels and whatever else, or maybe they have like celery and carrots. Okay. If you go to a gaming day, night, whatever, and they have celery and carrots as their snack, are you coming to a second game night with these people? No, you're not. No. You know why? Because they think you're a rabbit. That's why. That's weird. Why do they think you're a rabbit? Unless you can bring your own snacks, but you probably don't want to do that because you're going to think, well, that's rude because they're going to think that I don't want their snacks, which you don't. Let's be honest, you don't want their snacks. You want something fun. Celery's not fun. Carrots aren't fun. You want some Doritos or some Cheetos or cookies or um, buffalo wings or something that is definitely bad for you, bad for your body, but fantastic for your mouth. And if it's fantastic for your mouth, it's fantastic for your soul. Does celery and carrots and whatnot have protein in it to energize you? I don't think so. But buffalo wings do. You could have some buffalo wings, very saucy. You definitely don't want that at the table. Nope. You got to have that over on a side table somewhere. But you'll be energized and you'll be happy, and you will definitely come back to that game night because they have wings. They don't think you're a rabbit. They think you're a person who likes delicious, fun food, not stuff that your parents gave you when you asked for a cookie and they gave you that instead. No, no, that's traumatizing. We don't want to reopen those wounds. Fun food, not at the table. That's where you want it. It protects your games. It gives you a belly, but it makes you happier and it makes you want to play more. And really, if you're a gamer, isn't that what matters? It's not how healthy we are, it's how happy we are. And when we're playing games, we're happy. And if we go to game nights because they have good snacks, we're playing games. This is very simple. It's just, ABC, like we got it. Therefore, no snacks at the table. And don't have these healthy snacks. Forget that. You want that. This became a whole separate debate, but messy snacks, greasy snacks, unhealthy snacks. That way you don't have to have them at the table. You won't have them at the table because they'll mess up your game for sure. But they'll make you happier, and you'll come back, and you'll grow a bond between you and the other gamers that cannot be severed by anything ever again. Whereas celery And carrots have been known to end friendships, I'm pretty sure. So, anyway, that is my closing statement why you should not have games at the table. Or not games. Snacks. You should have games at the table. Don't have games at the
A
snack
Freudian
table.
slip.
Listen. Freud is a hack and you know it. Let's not bring him into this. He's do we need to debate Freud right now? Because we could do okay,
Are
no,
you
we're
ready
done.
for this? You're not ready for a Freud.
I am not going to debate Freud with you. I am certain you'll destroy me on that one. So I'm not going to do that. We'll save that for another time when I've had time to study at least. But I have studied Freud, but it's been a minute, so I don't. It's been a long time. Okay, so we're done. All right, that was a lot. Let's talk about how we really feel about this issue. Yeah. Dina, do you want to apologize?
I'm sorry for saying you
I'm
have a
kidding.
food
I'm not.
issue.
I was 0% mad about it. It was funny.
I think
I do have a
there's
gut.
lot of
I
people
can't even
with-
deny it. It's there. It's it is what it is. So
Yeah, I think a lot of people have an issue with like no crisp at the table.
Yeah.
I don't at the gaming nights that we do because they're fatty and they crunch and I just don't like them. But
Right.
that's me. But when people really want to eat greasy food, I prefer them chopsticks because I find that to be quite you can still hold your cards, you can eat your chips, nothing gets on the cards, just tidier that way. I mean, as you know, I get a lot of prototypes in here that we play with our gaming group, so they know that I have to be kind of careful with them. Some of them go to influencers afterwards. So we have a certain standard. We also do, when we do game nights, we have a set sort of dinner. So any game night that is more than 4 hours has a meal planned in it.
Oh, good.
Where there's a separate table, even like a separate room where that is happening. But yeah, we do always have like snacks at the table because we do have people in our group that we play with that are mobility issues. And while getting from the door to the table is okay, getting up afterwards is not. Like,
yeah, I need to apologize for my whole spiel about people. Okay. I very much apologize for that. Obviously, whatever situations people have at my table, I'm going to accommodate those. Yeah. Whatever that is, we're going to do that. I just had to debate that side, and that's where it went. So,
I know.
Just to be clear, please don't get mad at me.
And since I also have ADHD, it means if I don't see it, it doesn't exist to me. So like yesterday we had a game night that went on for 16 hours.
Wow.
And I did not eat or drink during that entire time because there was no food at the table.
Did you pass out or what?
It was it was at a separate table. Behind me, and I didn't see it, and I filled it after I had sat down starting to teach people games. So I didn't quite realize because we were running 2 tables with games, and I just never saw any of the snacks. So it was like around 9-10 p.m. that I was like, hey, I'm kind of thirsty.
Oh my god.
And they were like, yeah, let's where's your cup? And I'm like, cup? I don't have a cup.
Oh my god.
Out of sight, out of mind. I just it's like that's one of the very common things with people with attention deficit disorders is that if you can't see it, it doesn't exist. And I completely forgot that is a need that my body has because I was playing games.
Oh, that's fascinating. I didn't even wow. So if you're ever over here to game, I will make sure that we put snacks in front of you because I do not want you to pass out at the end of the day. I don't want to win because you've been knocked out. That's not. I'd rather you be awake and me lose, which is probably what would happen. But I don't win games. Yeah. Okay. I can see. Yeah. So, I usually do just have snacks at the game table personally, and honestly, a lot of times because we'll usually go over to a friend's house because they got more room to play and it's a little bit just nicer environment to do it, and usually we'll have like probably the worst. I mean, well, we don't have buffalo wings. That actually would be the worst possible snack at the game table, but they will have various kinds of. Um, I just realized because you called them crisps, and I wasn't thinking about the difference in the like they'll have like Doritos or Ruffles or whatever, which are not great for things, but usually I think everyone's pretty good about after they take a bite, getting a napkin and at least wiping off their hands. So hasn't been too big an issue. Luckily, I know a lot of people probably really cringe at that
Chopsticks, I
because
tell you.
yeah, it never occurred to me. It never occurred to me. I think that's a brilliant idea. I may have to do that. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, I get why people wouldn't want it. I'm much more worried about drinks on the table because it's so easy for those to get knocked over. And then you're not just messing up maybe one card, you can mess up your whole game pretty bad. So yeah, it's bad news.
Yeah.
So,
I haven't had anyone spill drinks in our gaming nights and also like most of my cards are sleeved anyway.
right.
So, but obviously the boards are not. And
Yeah.
we did have a case where we opened a game before we had sleeved everything, and one of our gamers had violent burst of nosebleeding during the session.
Oh my God.
And
Oh
yeah,
no.
that game now looks like it has had like a bit of a murder case on it.
Oh my God.
Because it did
Wow.
not wash out very easily.
No. Well, was it at least like a thematic game? Like if you were playing a horror game, then that kind of adds to it. But
Right.
if you're playing like My Little Pony the deck building game, then maybe that's not so good. I don't know.
Are you familiar with Magnet, the First City by Naylor Games?
I've only kind of heard of it, but I don't know too much about it. Is that the one?
Okay, so in the game, there's like a big market crash, and then all the prices of the buildings are diving, and you're kind of
Okay.
trying to sell everything and be like the richest person standing in the game. And his nosebleeds like thematically happened just as the market crash came
Oh no.
in. So it was very, and he had a lot of buildings that needed to sell, and he lost a lot of money on that not having sold it prior,
Oh
which I did
no.
because I'm smart like that. No? So it was very thematic, but it was not a horror. So things can get very violent when you're trying to be a magnate.
I guess so. I guess so. Like who knew?
It came as an
Wow.
absolute surprise to everyone that the market was crashing already.
I mean, it happened so dramatically too. That's what's amazing. Wow. We could have
Mm.
debated whether or not you should have nosebleeds at the table, but I don't know if that's really a choice. I don't think
I
it's.
don't know, not really a choice.
Yeah. Dang it. Okay.
So now I make sure that we have like higher humidity levels when he's coming over to play, because clearly my
Oh,
32% humidities were not enough to
I guess
prevent that
not.
from happening. So
Dang.
it is way too dry.
That's
Way too
crazy.
dry. So now we have a humidifier in the gaming room, which helps. We haven't had
Yeah.
an incident since.
That's
We
very
will still
good.
talk about it. It's like
Yeah,
nearly
well, I
2 years
bet.
ago.
How could you not? I've not heard of that happening before. I've coffee, beer, soda, all that stuff. Yeah, that's pretty common. Violent nosebleed, that's a new one to me. Wow. Oh my goodness. Okay.
It's still his favorite game, so it must have
Well,
worked.
it's kind of part of him now, or he's part of it now, so it kind of makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's like literally embedded DNA in the
Yeah.
tokens.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Well, don't ever get investigated for a crime because they're gonna find that and wonder what the heck you did. It's gonna be bad news right away. Oh my god. All right. Okay. Well, all right. We got through our debate. We talked about how we really feel. So we're in good place. You've got a giant cup of coffee. I hope you don't have a game in front of you. I don't know. Is that tea, coffee,
Tea.
vodka, tea? Okay. All right.
Always two.
All right.
No, I don't have currently any games in front of me. They're all behind
Okay.
me.
Okay.
I might, let me see. No, I have like player mats and stuff on this side,
Oh
and then
yeah.
all
You
my
don't get stuff
notebooks
on
and stuff on
those.
that side.
Oh,
So
good.
no,
Okay.
yeah,
You're probably
this is
safe.
like, yeah, safe zone.
All right. Okay.
This is like
So we
almost as
probably
big as my face.
it really is. I want a cup like that. I hate like I hate the regular size. I don't know what they are. How many ounces? The regular size mugs. 'Cause I always get like bigger ones that can hold. I drink more coffee, but like I want like a big cup of it. I don't want like a little. Yeah, forget that. Yeah, I hate that stuff. Come on,
Same.
commit to
Getting
your
good
beverage.
big glasses and big cups is like a real challenge, I think. So
Yeah,
now
I
we have like
agree.
4 of these, and I tried to collect the sets that everyone can have
Oh,
one big mug.
very smart. Yeah, I like the way you think. That's good. All right. So, if people want to follow you or use your services or what have you, how can they find you?
Okay, so I am Dina Said So on Instagram and Twitter, well as my website is dinasaidsostudio.com for those who are wanting to reach out. And then we also have like a Facebook and a TikTok and whatnot. Basically, I am the only person with Dina Ramse as my name. That's the completely unique name combination in the world. So that's super easy to find me. That's what I like to say, at least. So any of these platforms are being monitored daily. So yeah,
Well,
feel
right
free
on.
to bug me.
And as long as you like friendly people, I highly recommend you talk to her because, again, she you. I don't know why I'm saying she. You're literally right in front of me. Yeah, you've been super awesome since day one for me, and there is no obvious reason for you to be like I don't know. Everything okay? All right. No, you just been like super great,
Cats.
and I was just some like rando person on the internet trying to do a YouTube channel. And if you were willing to help me as much as you have, I can only imagine what you would do for someone who's trying to launch their game. So, um, before your
I
house
mean,
collapses,
no, I think because you asked, right? I think that's a big
yeah,
difference. Not everyone asks, and when people do ask, I would like to help if I can. And in your case, there was some very easy questions about like how do you do stuff, and like schedules and what is like optimal and what do I do with it afterwards. And it's like these are things that I handle every day. And I've been a content creator just not in the board game industry. I know what it is like to being on the other side of creating these kind of pieces of content. I know the amount of work it is to maintain a YouTube channel. I did for 7 years.
yeah,
Uh, it's stuff I already know, and I'm very happy about sharing what I know and what I've learned so far. I love being able to help people. That's like one of my big drives for doing this. There's a reason why my marketing company only works with indies. It's because I want to be able to help those who actually need it, rather than already operating with 7 digits and are hoping
right.
to crash into 8. I mean, why would I even? Uh, no. Uh, Launching your first game on Kickstarter is difficult enough already. I tried. We failed absolutely completely, and I wish someone was there to do what I'm now doing.
Right. Well, that's awesome, and I mean, if you haven't, if you're actually considering getting a game on Kickstarter, if watching this video with Dina hasn't convinced you, I don't know what the heck will, because you're an absolute delight, Dina, and just fantastic. So reach out to her, people, and follow her if you're not, um, because she, you are wonderful, just fantastic. So
Thank you, and
you're very
everyone
welcome.
should follow you as well.
Oh, thank you.
Uh, there will be more games coming from Kickstarters that I am launching on this channel
Awesome.
as well. So, people should stay tuned for that, because I do work with some pretty cool clients. I am very lucky to just be able to see so many fantastic games and see them come into, content creators and share it with the rest of the world.
Yes, indeed. You definitely pointed some awesome stuff my way, so I very much appreciate it. All right, folks. I do hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please hit like and subscribe and click the little bell icon so you can know about the next time we put out a video. Otherwise, I look forward to see you all around the table again at All Games New and Old. Bye.
Bye!
Hi everyone, we now have a merch store, so help out the channel and check it out.
Yeah, all these games and the equipment and everything we do and costumes cost a lot of money. So anything you can do to help us out if you love our content would be really appreciated. We have t-shirts in tons of different colors and styles.
We have sweatshirts in a few different styles.
We have lots of you can drink out of, like coffee mugs, pint glasses.
We also have coffee tumblers and water bottles and a few other things.
Right. So,
The following announcement has been paid for by AGNO.
hey y'all, check it out. Brand new shirt. It's not just black, it's black and white. Get one today. You can get it with or without, for everyone on the back. You want something to drink? Is it Thirsty Thursday? That's what that means, right? We got something for your morning. Check that out. We got something for your day. And you know, we got something for your night. Get your drink on with that. Get a little cold outside? Check out this premium hoodie. Damn, that looks good. You want to look good? You need this hoodie. What's that? You want a little color? Don't worry. AGNO has got you covered. You don't like purple and red? Don't worry. There's plenty more. Just check the store. All these clothes, not too big, not too small, just too sweet. Don't forget, all games new and old is for everyone.
The preceding announcement was paid for by AGNO.
So yeah, that's how you can get pretty much any Kickstarter at the All-In Pledge level for free. So when you saved all that money, make sure you go to our merch store, spend some of that saved money to help us out. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye. If you enjoyed that video, you might also like this one.
Or this one.
If you like any of our videos, what you should do is click this little button to subscribe so you'll know about the next time we put out a video.
We'll see you around the table.
Bye.
Bye.